You're not supposed to be extraordinary. That's the truth they'll never say to your face, but they'll feed it to you your entire life. It starts young. You're told to sit down, be quiet, color inside the lines. You're praised for obedience, not brilliance. The world doesn't reward greatness. It rewards compliance. And so, before you even know what it means to be alive, you're already being trained to accept average like it's a badge of honor. I remember being 12 years old, sitting in a classroom where everyone was bored, including the teacher. I looked around at 30 kids, all staring at the clock, and I wondered, is this it? This is where we're supposed to learn how to live. Memorizing things we'll forget by next week? No one was asking why. No one was asking what really mattered. We were being molded like clay to fit into a system that didn't care if we were happy, free, or fulfilled. Just productive. And here's the part no one wants to talk about. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It's designed to keep you average. It's designed to train you to follow, not lead. It's designed to make you chase things that don't matter. Money without meaning, approval without authenticity, comfort without growth. And the worst part? We believed it. You were told, go to school, get good grades, get a job, work hard, retire at 65, then maybe, if you're lucky, enjoy what's left. But deep down, something didn't sit right, did it? That voice inside you, the one that kept saying, there's more, it never went away. You tried to silence it. You distracted yourself with dopamine, scrolling, partying, fitting in. But that voice, it was never wrong. You just weren't ready to hear it. Because here's the truth most people never confront. Everything you were taught about success was meant to keep you from discovering your power. It's easier to control someone who's dependent. It's easier to manipulate someone who's afraid of being different. It's easier to pacify someone with cheap validation than push them toward real growth. Let me tell you about Kioma. She was 26 when we met. Smart, creative, the kind of person you could tell was born with something different in her. But she worked in an office job that drained the life out of her. She'd sit in traffic for 2 hours, sit in silence at a desk for 8, then come home too exhausted to do anything but scroll through TikTok and dream about a life she was too afraid to build. She wasn't lazy. She wasn't stupid. She was lied to. She thought doing what she was supposed to do would eventually make her happy. She thought if she just kept pushing, someday it would all make sense. But it never did, because the path she was on wasn't hers. It was someone else's blueprint, handed down by a society that benefits from your conformity. And you know what the saddest part was? She thought she was the problem. She thought she was broken for not feeling fulfilled. She thought something was wrong with her because she didn't want to play the game anymore. Number. The problem wasn't her. The problem was the lie. The lie that comfort is safety. The lie that success is a title and a paycheck. The lie that being better than 99% of people means having more followers or a bigger house. Let me be brutally honest with you. Being better than 99% of people doesn't start with doing more. It starts with unlearning. Unlearning the limits they placed on you. Unlearning the belief that you need permission to change your life. Unlearning the fear of being different. Because different is where greatness lives. You don't have to become superhuman overnight. But you do have to wake up. You have to stop pretending the path you're on will somehow take you somewhere you've never seen. If the people in front of you are miserable, stop following them. If the system is producing burnout and regret, why would you trust it with your future? There's a reason why most people stay stuck. Because waking up means taking responsibility. And responsibility is heavy. You can't blame your parents anymore. You can't blame the government, your school, or your job. You can't say, well, no one taught me, because now you know. Now you've seen behind the curtain, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. You were never meant to be average, but average is comfortable, and comfort is addictive. It feels good. It feels safe. But so does slowly dying. And that's what most people are doing, dying while their heart is still beating. Not you. Not after this. Not after everything you've been through. Not after everything you know is possible. But here's the catch. Knowing isn't enough. Wanting isn't enough. Even believing isn't enough. You have to move. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to choose to go against everything they told you was normal. You have to stop playing their game and start building your own. And yes, you'll lose people. You'll be misunderstood. You'll feel like a stranger in your own world sometimes. But you'll be free. And freedom, that's where real power begins. This is the part most people never get to. They stay asleep. They stay obedient. They stay in their little cages and call it life. But not you. Because once you realize the lie, you can't pretend anymore. This is the moment your story begins. There's always a moment, a quiet snap. Not always loud, not always dramatic. But once it happens, you're never the same. For some, it's heartbreak. For others, betrayal. For most, it's just silence. The kind that echoes deep into your soul and forces you to ask a dangerous question. Is this all there is? Let me tell you about the night I snapped. It wasn't during some crisis. It wasn't because someone yelled at me or told me I was worthless. It happened alone. In my room. With the lights off. At 2:37 a.m. on a Thursday. I just scrolled past the 37th video of someone living the life I knew I was capable of, but wasn't living. And then, like a punch to the gut, I realized I wasn't tired. I wasn't busy. I wasn't overwhelmed. I was numb. I had numbed myself with distractions, with excuses, with other people's opinions. I had created a life where I survived the day just to escape from it every night. And that night, something inside me cracked. Not in a loud, movie scene kind of way, more like a whisper, more like a decision. I got out of bed, walked to the mirror, and I stared. Not at my face, but at the version of me that could have been. I saw the person I abandoned, the one with fire in their eyes, with dreams that used to keep them up, with courage that didn't need permission. And I broke down because I missed that person, because I killed them trying to be realistic, because I let life shrink me. You see, people think snapping is some kind of breakdown. It's not. It's a rebirth. It's the moment you get so tired of your own lies that you finally scream the truth, even if it's only to yourself. The truth that your life is your fault, that no one is coming to save you, that every day you waste is a day you'll never get back. It's brutal, it's heartbreaking, but it's also beautiful. Because in that pain, in that snap, is where you meet the real you. Not the version people clapped for. Not the version that tried to fit in. Not the version that played small to keep others comfortable. I'm talking about you, the one who's been waiting for a chance to break free. Let me tell you about Anthony. He was 33 when he snapped. Wife left him, lost his job, ended up sleeping on his cousin's floor, surrounded by empty takeout boxes and regret. He spent 2 months drinking himself into a coma of self-pity. Until one morning, he found an old notebook under the couch. Inside were goals he wrote when he was 23. Things he wanted to build, places he wanted to go, a business idea, a dream body, a plan for the life he used to believe in. He stared at the pages, now covered in dust and broken promises, and he did something crazy. He got up, walked to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and slapped himself. Hard. He said, "I'm done being a coward." And that was it. No applause, no music, no inspirational montage, just a man hitting rock bottom and deciding this is where it changes. Within a year, Anthony had his own business, was in the best shape of his life, and wasn't chasing approval anymore because he knew who the hell he was. Not because someone told him, but because pain taught him. That's what most people miss. They think pain is punishment. It's not. Pain is a message. It's life telling you, wake up. You're not supposed to stay here. And yes, It's uncomfortable. Yes, it's terrifying. But nothing changes until you face it. Not run from it, not numb it, not blame someone else for it. Face it. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people never snap. They bend. They break. But they never snap. Because that would mean changing. That would mean letting go of the story they've told themselves for years. And that's the scariest thing you'll ever do. Admit you've wasted time. But if you can do that, you win. Because the person who admits they were lost is the only one who can choose a different path. That's what this part is about. This is where you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the author of your story. This is where you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? Because here's what no one wants to admit. You will never become better than 99% of people until you've been broken by something. Until you've stared at your own failure and decided to build anyway. That moment, that snap, is where champions are born. And if you felt it, or you're feeling it now, good. Let it shake you. Let it ruin everything fake about you. Let it burn your excuses to the ground, because the version of you that's waiting on the other side of this, they're unstoppable. They're dangerous. They're real. And the world doesn't know what to do with someone who's real. Most people spend their lives avoiding that moment. You're going to use it as fuel, because this is the moment you choose. You either go back to sleep or you rise. And if you're still watching this video, still reading these words, then deep down, you already chose. Everyone loves the highlight reel. The followers, the cars, the interviews, the I made it story. But what no one wants to talk about, what 99% of people never even see, are the hours when no one is clapping. No one is watching. No one even cares. That's where the real transformation happens. That's where you build the version of yourself that doesn't need validation anymore. It's 4:47 a.m. Your alarm goes off. There's no cheering, no motivation, just you and a choice. Most people hit snooze. You don't. You roll out of bed, feet hitting the cold floor like a promise to yourself. I said I want this, so I'm going to act like it. Let me be clear. It doesn't feel good. Discipline is never sexy in the beginning. It's repetitive, lonely, awkward. You go to the gym and lift weights that don't talk back. You open the laptop and write words no one will read. Yet, you study while your friends party. You sacrifice comfort while they chase pleasure. And the worst part? No one applauds the process. It's just you, and your dream, and your demons. That's where 99% of people give up. Because they think progress is supposed to feel like fireworks. But it feels like silence. It feels like being misunderstood. It feels like working your ass off and still being behind. Let me tell you about Faith. She was building a business no one believed in. Handmade products, zero investors, tiny social following. She'd wake up at 5 a.m., mix ingredients in her kitchen, pack orders on her floor, send emails from a cracked phone. Her friends didn't get it. Her family thought she was wasting time. People laughed behind her back, but she kept going. Every night she'd tell herself, one more rep, one more email, one more day. Not because she saw results, but because she saw a vision. 3 years later, that silly little idea exploded. Millions in revenue, retail partnerships, podcasts, book deals. Everyone called her lucky. But they didn't see the mornings when she cried over late payments. The weekends she skipped because rent came before rest. The thousands of tiny decisions that looked like nothing, but changed everything. That's the truth no one tells you. Consistency is louder than talent. The people who win aren't always the smartest, strongest, or most connected. They're the ones who keep showing up after the motivation dies. You want to be better than 99% of people? Then outlast them, outfocus them, outdiscipline them. Because most people chase excitement. But growth lives in boredom, repetition, focus. It's waking up every day and saying, I don't care how I feel. I care who I'm becoming. Here's a brutal truth. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer distractions. Stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. Stop seeking external validation for internal goals. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission to go all in. No one is coming to push you. You either become the force that moves, or you stay stuck. I had a friend named Remy, wanted to be a music producer, had talent, had passion. But every time I asked how things were going, he had a new excuse. Just waiting for the right time. Need better equipment. Not feeling inspired. 10 years later, still in the same place, same job, same regrets. Watches others blow up on YouTube and says, they just got lucky. No, Remy, they didn't get lucky. They just worked when you didn't. That's not judgment. That's reality. Because your dream doesn't care about your feelings. Your future doesn't respond to excuses. It responds to effort. And I get it. You want results. You want proof that what you're doing matters. But here's the truth. The results come after the belief, not before. You have to show up when there's nothing to show for it. You have to build momentum before the world believes in you. You have to trust yourself when no one else will. And that trust? It's forged in the dark, in the unseen hours, in the silence. You're not going to feel like a champion every day. Some days you'll feel like quitting. That's when it matters most, because that's where separation happens. That's when you become different. When you keep going after it stops being fun. When you stop needing applause. When you stop asking for shortcuts. And one day, someone will look at you and say, wow, I wish I had your discipline. I wish I had your confidence. I wish I had your life. And they'll have no idea what it cost. The nights you cried yourself to sleep. The people who doubted you. The years of invisible work. But you'll know. You'll remember the grind, the tears, the silence, and you'll smile because you didn't wait for permission. You earned your power in the shadows. And now, it's undeniable. They won't understand. That's the hardest part of this journey. Not the pain, not the discipline, not the long hours or self-doubt. It's them. The people you love, the people you grew up with, the ones who were always there until you started changing. No one tells you that becoming better than 99% of people means letting go of 99% of the people you once held close. And it hurts. It hurts when your best friend laughs at your goals. It hurts when your family says you've changed like it's an insult. It hurts when the people you thought would clap for you go silent. But hear me. You cannot become who you were meant to be while dragging dead weight from who you used to be. There comes a point where you realize some people aren't growing, not because they can't, but because they don't want to. They love the comfort. They love the drama. They love talking about change more than actually changing. And when you start leveling up, when your habits change, your goals shift, your standards rise, it threatens them. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your growth exposes their stagnation. Let me tell you about Daniel. He grew up in a rough neighborhood, tight circle of friends, same slang, same mindset, same plans, survive, maybe get a job, settle. But Daniel wanted more. He started reading, started working out, started saying no to parties, yes to discipline. And you know what happened? They mocked him, called him arrogant, said he was too good for them now. One night, his closest friend pulled him aside and said, "Don't forget where you came from, bro." Daniel looked him in the eye and said something I'll never forget. "I didn't forget. I just refused to stay there." That's what this chapter of your life is about. Not forgetting where you came from, but refusing to let it define where you're going. Some people will beg you to dim your light just so they don't feel blind standing next to you. Don't. Let them squint. Let them look away. Let them go. Because if you have to shrink to be loved, it's not love. It's control. And this journey, this path of becoming better than 99%, it requires ruthless honesty. Not cruelty, not ego, just clarity. Some people were meant for your past, not your future. And the sooner you accept that, the lighter you become. You don't owe loyalty to people who guilt you for evolving. You don't owe explanations to people who don't want to understand. You don't owe your time to anyone who drains your energy just to feed their own comfort. This might mean breaking up with someone you love. It might mean distancing yourself from family. It might mean walking alone for a while. But walking alone with purpose is better than walking in circles with people going nowhere. Let me tell you about Lara. She was in a 5-year relationship. Comfortable, predictable, emotionally safe, and soul-crushing. Her partner didn't believe in her dreams. He supported her as long as she didn't grow too far ahead of him. Every time she brought up her ideas, starting a brand, going back to school, building a different life, he'd say, "You're doing too much. Why can't you just relax?" And for years, she did. She played small, stayed quiet, tried to keep the peace, until one day she looked at her reflection and didn't recognize herself anymore. That's when she left, and it broke her, but it also rebuilt her. Today, she's thriving. She doesn't beg to be understood anymore. She doesn't wait for someone to believe in her. She believes in herself, because she learned the most painful truth of all. Love doesn't mean sacrificing your future to keep someone else comfortable in the present. You will outgrow people, and that's okay. That doesn't make them evil. That doesn't make you heartless. It just means your paths are diverging. And if you stay for the sake of loyalty, you'll slowly start betraying yourself. You'll stop sharing your ideas because you know they'll mock them. You'll avoid talking about your goals because they'll make passive-aggressive jokes. You'll start censoring your own potential to avoid making them uncomfortable. Don't. You're not responsible for their comfort. You're responsible for your becoming. And the people meant for you, the ones aligned with your purpose, they won't feel threatened by your ambition. They'll feel inspired by it. They'll sharpen you, challenge you, stand beside you. But you'll never meet those people if you're still clinging to the ones afraid of growth. This part of your journey is brutal. I won't lie. It's lonely. It's confusing. It makes you question everything. But on the other side of that loneliness is alignment. And alignment is powerful. Because when your environment supports your evolution, your growth becomes inevitable. So if you're in a season where people are walking away, let them. If you're losing friends, relationships, fake supporters, let them go. Not out of bitterness, not out of anger, out of clarity. You're not abandoning anyone. You're just finally choosing yourself. And that's the beginning of everything. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop sugarcoating what this journey actually costs. Everyone wants to talk about the rewards, the freedom, the confidence, the success. But no one talks about the real price. And here it is, the bold, uncomfortable, controversial truth. Most people don't want to be better. They say they do. They post quotes. They talk about hustle and growth. But when it's time to change, when it's time to sacrifice, to show up, to cut out distractions, to sit alone and face themselves, they run. Because comfort is addictive. Because excuses are easier than transformation. Because being average is not just accepted, it's celebrated. That's the truth nobody admits. That's why most people will never make it. And the sooner you accept that, the freer you become. You see, this journey to becoming better than 99% of people, it's not about arrogance. It's not about superiority. It's about separation. It's about separating yourself from the habits, the mindsets, and the environments that breed mediocrity. Because here's another hard truth. You will lose people, but you'll also lose parts of yourself. And that's the point. You'll lose the version of you that needed validation. You'll lose the version of you that over-explained your goals. You'll lose the version of you that settled, that tolerated, that stayed quiet to avoid tension. And that death, that inner death, is the real beginning of life. Let me tell you something I've never shared before. There was a woman I loved deeply. We dreamed together, grew together, shared everything, until I started growing faster. At first, it was subtle. She'd roll her eyes when I talked about discipline. She'd mock the books I read. She'd say things like, "You're always trying to be perfect." And I ignored it for months, until one day I told her, "I want to give my life to purpose. I want to build something that outlives me." She looked at me and said, "That sounds exhausting." And right there, I knew. She wasn't coming with me, not because she was evil, but because her life was built on avoiding discomfort, and mine was becoming about embracing it. So I left, and it shattered me. But that heartbreak was the gateway to a new identity. It taught me this truth. You can either choose comfort with the crowd or discomfort with your calling. But you can't have both. That's what it means to be better than 99% of people. It means choosing the harder path every day. It means becoming unrecognizable to your past self. It means walking into rooms and no longer needing to be understood, because you finally understand yourself. And most people, they don't want that. They want to be seen, not changed. They want results, not responsibility. They want the image of greatness, without the isolation that builds it. But you didn't come this far to be liked. You came to be limitless, and you're not alone. Every person watching this video, reading this right now, who feels like they're the only one pushing while everyone else settles, I see you. I was you. The late nights, the breakdowns, the moments where you wonder if it's even worth it. It is. Because when you rise, when you choose discomfort, when you refuse to settle, you give permission to someone else to do the same. You become the proof. You become the spark. And this is the moment where you decide what happens next. You can stop here, go back to your old life, pretend you never heard these words. Or you can lean into the pain. You can embrace the discipline. You can sacrifice what's easy for what's eternal. And I promise you, on the other side of that pain, that loneliness, that resistance, is a life you can't even imagine yet. But it's real, it's yours, and it's waiting. So here's my ask. Go to the comments right now. Tell me your story. Tell me where you are on your journey. Tell me what broke you and what you're building out of those broken pieces. Because I'll be there, reading, responding, connecting, because we're not meant to walk this road alone, but we are meant to walk it with people who are serious. No more fake friends, no more small talk, no more shallow dreams. This is where it gets real. This is where the 1% is forged. Not through luck, not through talent, but through choice. And you've already made yours. Let this video be your line in the sand. From this moment forward, every action you take either pulls you closer to your potential or keeps you stuck with the 99%. Choose power. Choose growth. Choose yourself. I'll see you in the comments. Let's build something they'll never forget. Lock.